Time now for a look at what's grabbing headlines around the world. We're once again joined by Clément Bonnereau for that. And we start with our top story this morning, North Korea's test of a mid-range ballistic missile. How are the press reacting?
That's right. Well, most papers this morning are reacting with concern. It's on the front page of the Financial Times. Many papers, including The Independent, are saying that this is the first real global test for Donald Trump as president. The US leader is still struggling to define a coherent foreign policy, particularly in Asia. He's vowed to put America first and has been very critical of allies, including Japan and South Korea. But The Independent says that with North Korea's missile test, the time has come for Trump to address global issues and start building a relationship with East Asian countries to counter the North Korean threat.
But it's not all serious. A lot of cartoons trying to take a more humorous angle.
That's right. Just take a look at this cartoon in the South China Morning Post. You see here a military commander speaking to the North Korean leader, Kim Jong-un. He tells him, "Looks like our missile test got Donald Trump's attention." And he replies, "Excellent, now let's build a mosque." Obviously, that's a reference to Donald Trump's infamous travel ban targeting majority Muslim countries.
Yeah, that's right. And did Kim Jong-un really get Trump's attention? How did Trump react?
Well, some people were expecting Trump to react like this, in usual Trump style, as you can see in this cartoon in the Daily Telegraph. "I will not have an unstable egomaniac threaten my country." He says this as, obviously, he prepares to hit the nuclear button with his fist. But as the New York Times reports, Trump responded to North Korea's missile test with, quote, uncharacteristic restraint. Trump read a statement of just 23 words pledging American support to Japan, and he didn't even mention North Korea. That said, the New York Times reminds us that Trump has shown that he can respond to events in measured ways one moment and with hot-headed bluster the next. So we shouldn't be surprised if he changes his attitude over the coming days.
And someone who's been very critical of Donald Trump is Germany's new president, Frank-Walter Steinmeier.
That's right. The Washington Post calls him the anti-Trump president. Frank-Walter Steinmeier is a well-known political figure in Germany. He's a prominent member of the Social Democratic Party. He served as foreign minister under Angela Merkel. And he is indeed a fierce critic of Donald Trump. He once called him a hate preacher and said that Trump's victory would make everything more difficult for Europe and the world.
And how are the German press responding to what Steinmeier said?
Well, most German newspapers seem to hold Steinmeier in high esteem. The Tagesspiegel says that he's the right president for the uncertain times that Germany is going through. The Berlin-based paper describes him as the candidate of stability. Die Zeit agrees, arguing that while the president in Germany holds limited power, Steinmeier could take on a much more political role and draw on his long experience to defend liberal values in the face of rising extremism on both the right and on the left.
And the possibility that Steinmeier might actually be a threat to German Chancellor Angela Merkel.
That's right. Well, according to the New York Times, he could be a threat to Angela Merkel. Steinmeier is one of Germany's most popular politicians, and the presidency obviously gives him a key platform to speak directly to Germans. The New York Times argues that Steinmeier could well be a boon for the Social Democratic Party, this just 7 months before national elections.
And we finish in Switzerland, where people voted overwhelmingly in favor of new rules, making it easier for third-generation immigrants to become Swiss.
That's right. And La Tribune de Genève says it's a huge blow to the UDC, the Swiss People's Party, which was the only party campaigning against the proposal. The UDC had warned that it would be the first step to allowing all immigrants to get citizenship and could even lead to the Islamization of the country. Now, the UDC is often described as one of the most influential and powerful far-right parties in Europe. And what seemed to go wrong this time with their campaign was this poster, which you can see in a photo in the New York Times, showing a woman wearing a niqab. It sparked outrage in the country. The New York Times notes that the result of the vote goes against the recent tide of populism and anti-immigrant sentiment. Many people actually thought that the UDC party went really too far with this poster. And the New York Times concludes by saying that it gives hope, the result gives hope to all those hoping to counter Donald Trump's strategy of using alternative facts and divisive rhetoric. The New York Times says that such such strategies may work in the US for now, but they didn't work in Switzerland.
All right, Clément Bonnereau with a roundup of the international papers.